Guys, today we're going to talk about a family evacuation and escape plan. Things can happen at a moment's notice. A couple of years ago, we had a train that derailed a few miles from here, and it was loaded with chemicals. When it derailed, it was near a neighborhood, and they ended up evacuating 1,500 people within an hour. And you didn't have much time just to grab your things and go. So there are events that can happen like that. It doesn't have to be SHTF. It doesn't have to be, the zombie apocalypse. It can just be an event that happens suddenly and you need to just get out of Dodge. So we're going to take a look at putting together a plan for your family to be able to get out of your house if you need to at a moment's notice. Now again, this isn't a bug out plan. This isn't putting together, a total survival plan. It really is to get you out of the area. Now guys, this is third in a series to get your family prepared. And the first is having a family action plan. Something could happen right around the house, and just having a plan in place to protect your family. Also, the second video was about having survival supplies or emergency supplies. And not only having them in place, but having them in something that you can pick up and take with you. And that's going to be part of what we're going to be talking about today. Having just a plan in place. Once you get it in place, you're good to go, and you have your family on board, and they know what to do. Now, one of the big things that you need right up front is communication. You need to know that something's going on. And it's one of the problems that we have. A lot of times we don't listen to local news. We get a lot of our news off of national news, off of Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, Facebook. So it's really important to check in on local news. You can also get alerts, especially emergency alerts in your area. But one of the big things that's needed is something that is a small radio. This is battery powered. You don't have to worry about the power, being out. This is also solar, and it also has a hand crank. And there's a ton of these different radios out there. They're weather radios, they're emergency radios. Typically they have shortwave. There's a number of different ones out on the market. And so this is really a great option. I mean, here we've got our solar panel. If we need to, of course, we have our antenna. And then right here on the side, we have a little hand crank. And so this is going to be able to charge this up in case the batteries go dead. So this, again, guys, is not necessarily for even SHTF. This is also just for weather. I mean, knowing when really tough weather's coming and having an open communication to emergency services. Now, of course, in environmental, but also in things like we talked about with a chemical spill. Knowing what authorities are saying, knowing what areas you need to go to, knowing what shelters you need to go to. And so follow instructions and listen, because a lot of times certain avenues, certain ways are going to be, clogged up. They could be blocked. And so this is going to give you alternate routes. Now, your GPS obviously is a great resource if you're getting cell service. Also, letting your family know that this is available and showing them how to use this radio and having it in a place where everyone knows where it is. Now, having kind of sturdy clothes, that's important. Of course, dress to the weather. If it's cold weather, obviously you'll need to make sure that you have your jacket and whatever you need to stay warm. Where you find yourself may not be temperature controlled, so it's good to be able to have excess that you can pack away. And then, of course, good shoes, sturdy work boots, shoes for the whole family. And that's really important to have those as you leave the house. And anything that you might need for protective gear, such as goggles, glasses, safety glasses, or even face mask. In a chemical spill, a face mask could really come in handy. And of course, and then protect your eyes as well. Now, one of the things also is your emergency kit, making sure that everyone knows where your supplies are. Now, of course, I'll have it annotated right here, but we did a video, the second in the series, on putting together your survival supplies or your emergency supplies. And this does include extra clothing as well as what you have on. But it also has all the other things that you might need in an emergency situation. Now, this, again, is not about bug out. It's not about SHTF. This is a regular emergency that could happen at any time. Now, the first video was talking about a family action plan, and you need to have a diagram of your home, especially like a fire. If a fire breaks out, you want everyone to be able to know the exits, way to get out. If you have a second story, which we do, we have an emergency ladder where we can drop it down. It's one of those collapsible ladders, just rolls out. We have a fire extinguisher up there. We have a fire kit to go along with our regular fire alarm. Also, knowing where each of your different utilities are. So a diagram of your house showing ways out, which everyone should know, but it's really good to kind of go through it and do a drill. Now this is a rough diagram of the house, and it gives everyone information on what to do. Going out the front door, of course, is natural, or this door that we come out of the kitchen. But sometimes you don't think about going out the back door. And then having other escape routes, whether it's through the back window. We have a fire ladder right here and a fire kit, and you can go right out this window if you need to. And then of course, obviously, down the steps. And so having this already laid out is just, I know it seems intuitive and just easy, but it's definitely something you need to at least discuss. Then we also have our supplies right here. If I had red, I would have marked that in red. And then we have our water shut off, our power, and again, we want to show our family how to turn these off if we need to. And then having a meetup place. Here at the top of our driveway, we have a place that we just designate, and this is where everyone meets. In case there's a fire or in case there's any kind of emergency situation, we meet right here. And you may want to supply one of these for every member of your family, or you may want to put it up in a location that's really easy to find. And that also applies to emergency numbers, medical, friends, different things like that. Make sure that everyone has those emergency numbers in their phone, but also as a hard copy. Knowing where you're going. A lot of times, in a temporary situation, you may be going just to a hotel, you may be going to a shelter. And so you need to put those things into consideration because you may have pets. If you have pets, they're not going to allow them into a shelter type environment, and possibly even a hotel. And so maybe, knowing where you need to put those pets. In the meantime, it may be friends or neighbors if it's a localized emergency. And again, guys, you may be going to friends' houses, which really would probably be the ideal situation. Going to friends, you're feeling a comfortable environment, very welcome, and it's nice. But we all don't have that option, and so public shelters may be what you need to go for, and you need to make sure that you know the rules so when you get there are no surprises. Also, letting friends and neighbors know where you're going if you're having to leave your house. And that way, if anybody comes to your house looking for you, they'll know where to find you. One big thing is to have cash. Now, your debit card, your credit card, those are great, but sometimes ATMs are off. Sometimes they run out of cash. And so having some cash on hand, you may be going to a place to get supplies and their power's out, or they are not able to access their credit card machines. And so having that cash really is a huge plus. So guys, while this is a very simple thing to put together, a lot of times we put it off, and it's something that's very important. It doesn't take a lot of time to sit down with your family and to plan these things out. And once you have them planned out, you're good to go. It's really good to go over your evacuation drill at least a couple of times a year, and just to kind of get everyone in sync. The one thing is about drills and about training in general for anything is that it gets you prepared, it gets your mindset right. Now again, guys, this is not necessarily geared toward, a bug out, a serious bug out where you're getting out of Dodge and the whole world's collapsing around you. It may be a very localized thing, which is more typical than a nationwide or worldwide event. And all these things we're talking about where they will feather into a bug out situation. It's really important to have those everyday plans in place. So guys, I hope this inspires you to have a family emergency plan in place. Again, this is part 3. You can check out the others. But guys, it's really simple, and once you get this laid out, it's going to give your family the knowledge to know what to do. It's going to give you a plan. This helps to keep panic down and helps you to make wise decisions. And if you're serious about prepping and survival, check out Survival Dispatch Insider, one of the best resources on the web using some of the top names in the survival and prepping world. We upload one video exclusive to the Insider every week. I'll have a link down below in the description. Check it out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Ready to go, and guys, when it comes to survival, we're going to talk today about escape and evasion. Being able to listening to your survival supplies list. Okay, what were the other ones?